Good afternoon. I'm Vic Donahoe, the Director of the Highway Safety Office. It's an honor to be here this afternoon to share just a little bit of information with each of you about what the Highway Safety Office is doing. The Highway Safety Office law enforcement liaisons regions are broken up into 4. We have the East Region, the Cumberland Region, the Middle Region, and then the West Region. And we're traveling to each region today to make an announcement of how much money is being distributed in these regions. I'm happy to announce in Middle Tennessee region, $9 million is going to be distributed amongst 23 agencies. So that money will be used for overtime, saturations, checkpoints, and a concentration on seatbelt enforcement with all our various partners. In addition to that, that money will be used to pay for a DUI prosecutor and a DUI coordinator. We feel the importance of having the judicial system properly trained and properly focused on DUI prosecution or impaired driving prosecution is essential to the success of reducing impaired drivers across the state. In the last 10 years, we've spent approximately $60 million just in DUI prosecution alone, not counting the countless amounts of money that we have provided to local departments, sheriff's departments, police departments, and highway patrol for overtime, saturations, and checkpoints. In totally, we're going to have approximately 400 grants this year all across the state. These are not all law enforcement grants. Some of them are with just traffic safety advocate partners. We partner with Tennessee Tech University. We partner with UT, University of Tennessee, Meharry Medical. So there are a lot of grants that are not to law enforcement agencies, but they are a traffic safety partner. We all feel that grant funding is essential to highway safety and reducing crashes. Currently, I think we're plus 13 today. Last year, we had about a plus 40, which is a trend, obviously, that we're not happy with. I don't think anyone wants to knock on a door and tell them, a family, that their loved one's been killed in a crash. So we hope this money is used wisely. We hope it's used in the way that it's distributed to help law enforcement have more visibility, have a focus on DUIs, distracted driving, speeders, and seatbelts, because those 4 we know are killers. Now it's my honor to introduce someone that's no stranger to law enforcement. It's rare that, well, let me say in my previous 28 years as a state trooper, it's rare that you have a commissioner that once wore the uniform. And I think when you have that, you have what you call a trooper's commissioner. And that's what we have now. And he's been in your shoes. And he knows exactly what working the road is, what working the crash is, what arresting a drunk is. And unfortunately, he knows what knock at the door is. And that's something that we all want to prevent. So it's my honor to introduce Commissioner David W. Perkins.
Folks, thanks for being here. And it's just a personal honor for me to come and be with you and recognize the reason that we're here today. And as a former elected official myself, a county mayor for 16 years, I always want to make sure that I recognize the elected officials that are with us because I put my name on the ballot for 16 years. I know how difficult those jobs are, and I know that we have some here. Sheriff, thank you for being with us today, and certainly your chief that I just met. The city administrator for Dickson, good to see you. Are there other elected officials? Here are our appointed officials. Certainly we have some chiefs, the chief of Dickson, a good friend, chief of Burns, and others that are standing up here with us. Also want to recognize, obviously, the Highway Patrol staff. As someone who has wore the uniform, as Vic said, the troopers are very important to me. It's one of 4 divisions in our department. It's the largest division. It has about 1,000 troopers and support personnel. We have about 600 driver's license personnel 26 Homeland Security office staff, and about 22, 23 highway safety staff. So I always want to recognize them, and certainly our highway safety staff that we have with us here today. Let me say this to you. It's a difficult time to be in public safety. I understand that. It's been a difficult 2 or 3 years, but we have a job to do, and in fact, that's what the officer said in Houston as he was going out the door the other day. The Houston police officer lost his life. His wife tried to get him to stay home, and he said, "Honey, I can't stay here. We have a job to do." And that's what we take an oath to do when we raise our right hands. Anyone who wears a uniform has to do that. I've administered those oaths myself as a county mayor and as commissioner, and it's very important when you take an oath to do your job. Highway safety is a very important part of that. Vic mentioned that we're up a little this year. I get an email every morning that gives me a fatality count, and we are at plus 13 today. We have been minus 27 and plus about 18. So we're not doing too bad, but certainly we want to press those numbers down. I would say this to you, though, as a positive point. During Governor Haslam's administration, 5 of the lowest 6 years since 1962 have been since 2011. Now think about that. 5 of the lowest 6 years in the last 50 years have been since 2011. So we know that the highway safety dollars work. We know what, unfortunately, if you wear a badge, we know what kills people. We know the lack of wearing seat belts, distracted driving, drunk drivers, drug drivers. We know exactly what causes accidents and kills innocent people on the roadways. That's what these monies are about. It's millions of dollars from the federal government passed through the State Highway Safety Office. And we've had the Highway Safety Office in our department now for, I guess, going on about 18 months, transferred from TDOT. I can tell you that it's been a very good fit, and I hope you're finding that to be a good fit. It wasn't that TDOT did not want the program, but the Commissioner of Transportation and then Commissioner Bill Gibbons just got together and talked about what would be the best fit for the Highway Safety Office. And the governor agreed that it would be the Department of Safety and Homeland Security. So we're glad to have them. We're in Dickson County and Dickson today for a reason. We picked 4 of our best partners, and when I say partners, by county, across this state, and made a decision that we would do a fly around and announce the grants based on what those cities and counties were doing. So we're not here by happenstance. We picked Jefferson County in East Tennessee for a reason. We picked Cumberland County in the Upper Cumberland for a reason. We picked Dickson County for a reason. Then we're headed to Dyersburg after we leave here before we go back to Nashville. These are some very good monies. They put money in your officers' pockets for overtime. And we all know as police officers, sheriffs, deputies, and troopers that your normal shifts are spent doing what? Reacting to calls. That's primarily what you're doing. You have very little free time for specific targeted enforcement. And that's what this money allows us to do. It is good overtime money where you can actually make an impact on the roadways and to keep our fatality rates low. This is good, directed, targeted money. These awards are substantial amounts from the program. And again, we make these awards knowing that they'll be spent well here. We've not had trouble with audit findings here. We've not had trouble with misuse of the money. It goes where it's supposed to go, and that's the reason we're glad to stand with you today. Before I ask if there's any questions either from the media or the audience, let me just ask my colleagues behind us or certainly anybody in the audience, if they've got any comments that they would might like to make at the microphone. You don't have to, but I mean, is anyone like to come up? Sheriff? Yeah.
While some others are thinking about it, I won't be shy, because I want you to know how important it is to the Sheriff's Office to be a partner with the Tennessee Highway Safety Office and what those funds mean to us. And each of us in this room know people that we know that have had life-changing experiences or lost their life because of drunk driving, drug driving, distracted, and our numbers show in our county that we still have a lot of work to do, and with these funds we're going to put it to our maximum use. But we certainly appreciate the partnership and that you oversee the funds so diligently, that you have a specific focus. And I know those have kind of changed over the years, but I really like the direction that it's going, and to include the prosecutors, because the people that commit these crimes need to be held accountable. And we're going to do our best to secure those cases for the maximum prosecution, and we're just thankful to be here today.
Thank you, Sheriff. Chief?
I'm good.
Before we close, let me say, he mentioned that there's 4 divisions in the department, and no division can operate without staff. And I can say unequivocally, the THSO has the best staff in the Department of Safety. Let me introduce Deputy Director Jason Ivey, Program Manager Shandy Smith, Administrative Services Assistant 4 Jamie Wright, Program Manager Kim Vanetta, Program Manager Deborah Scruggs, and Miss Ariel Tyson is our Public Information Officer. After a successful Lifesavers Conference last week that Ariel and this crew put together, I wish you all could have seen the amount of work behind the scenes, along with the LL coordinators, the LELs themselves, and it couldn't have been done without a group effort. The same goes about traffic safety. Without the partnerships and the same common goals, we're not going to save anyone's lives. But if we work together, we can reduce these fatalities and work our way to what's on these troopers' lapel 0.